Let me take a moment and talk about Riverside.fm. It allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K video. When you need to record audio and video, Riverside.fm can do it. So if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to any video content, Riverside.fm. I've got a promo code for you where you'll receive a 30% discount on the first 3 months of your subscription. I'll give it to you twice. The promo code is SHIPIT. All one word, SHIPIT, and you'll pick up a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Riverside.fm.
In this episode of the Football History Headlines, we discuss a bunch of Super Bowls, number 50, 40, 42, and 46, as well as Ed Sable, Roger Staubach, and Vince Lombardi, and many more Hall of Fame legendary birthdays and stories. It's all coming up for you in just one moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with PigskinDispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history. And we have some great football history headlines for you today, shared for you from the date of February 5th. And just some great things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some legendary quarterbacks, some great coaches and legends in that aspect of football, some Super Bowls and some dramatic finishes and plays, and it's all going to happen here, and we're going to get right at it right now. February 5th, 1969. Well, this is the day that the great Vince Lombardi, remember a few days ago we celebrated, I believe on February 1st, that's the day that he left Green Bay. Well, February 5th, 1969, he joined the Washington Redskins organization. He became a part owner, vice president, general manager, head coach. He may have been given a lifetime supply of Twizzlers, who knows, just made that part up, but anything they could do to get him to join the Washington Redskins franchise. The Slice of Life website shares a great article on the subject, and Lombardi, who was the legendary coach of Green Bay from 1959 to 1967, turned that franchise from a doormat of the league into the perennial champions of most of the decade of the 60s. And what is now referred to as Super Bowl II, Lombardi seemed to have hit the wall where the coaching juices he had just burned up with the Packers. He spent so much of the 1968 season as the Packers general manager, but he wasn't the coach anymore, but just found not being in charge of the sideline, he just got some big anxiety attacks, I guess. So word on the street was that Vince Lombardi was looking to return to coaching, and the immediate suitors for service included the Philadelphia Eagles, the Boston Patriots, and the Redskins. President Edward Bennett Williams pushed all the chips into the center of the table and offered Lombardi a part ownership of the team and just about everything else. A lot was happening in D.C. at that time. Nixon just entered the White House. Ted Williams was hired as the manager of the Washington Senators Major League Baseball club. And across the NFL, Chuck Noll was hired by the Steelers, while Oakland put John Madden on the payroll. These all just happened within a week of this occurring. And now Lombardi was to the Redskins. Now you're talking about a coaching carousel that we have in these days. Imagine that happening with a lot less teams. I believe, back then, the NFL, well, the NFL and the AFL weren't certainly merged all the way yet. So the NFL had, 14 teams, and you had 3 or 4 of them having major coaching disruptions with some big names. Of course, Oakland was in the AFL. I know that wasn't one of the teams, but Oakland was a big player in the AFL. So a lot of things happening. They're trying to merge the AFL and the NFL, and now Lombardi leaves Green Bay and joins the Redskins. Now, Lombardi was able to serve 1 season of this contract with the team. He improved this doormat franchise to a 7-5-2 record. Unfortunately, though, he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of colon cancer in early 1970 and died on September 3rd, 1970, the age of 57, just days before the 1970 season was supposed to start. That was supposed to be season number 2 of him in Washington. We'll never know what the great coach could have done with the franchise from there. but he did lay a foundation where the Redskins appeared in Super Bowl VII in 1973 and gave the undefeated Dolphins a run for their money, and then moved on to bigger and better things in the 1980s. So just a great tradition of the Washington Redskins team, Washington football team, Washington Commanders now, was laid by the great coach that only was there for one season. February 5th, 1995, Aloha Stadium, the AFC Stars knocked around the NFC squad 41-13 in the 1994 season's NFL Pro Bowl game. Most valuable player of this contest was none other than Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, who at the time played for the Indianapolis Colts as a running back. February 5th, 2006 at Ford Field in Detroit, the big storyline going into Super Bowl 40 was that the Motor City's favorite son, sorry Arnie Chapman, it's not you, the bus, Jerome Bettis, may retire after this game. Yeah, Bettis was a starting fullback for the Pittsburgh Steelers and was coerced out of retirement a year earlier by rookie quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who promised him a championship if he returned. While the Steelers would face a tall challenge from the Seattle Seahawks, led by veteran coach Mike Holmgren for the Bleacher Report article. The game is forever remembered, unfortunately, for what many call phantom officiating, as Seattle had a couple of close calls not go their way, including a goal line play where Roethlisberger ran a QB sneak, and conclusive evidence to overturn a touchdown called on the field was not apparent. Well, the later was a apparent touchdown pass from Hasselbeck to Darrell Jackson was negated by an offensive pass interference foul against Jackson. Seattle settled for a field goal, and with the Steelers leading 14-10 early in the fourth quarter. A Hasselbeck completion to Jeremy Stevens at the 1-yard line was negated by a holding penalty on offensive lineman Steve Locklear. Ford Field was populated with 80% Steelers fans based on the comments by broadcasters Al Michaels, and this added to the sour taste that Seattle fans had for the game. The Steelers did make some big plays, though, including a Willie Parker record 75-yard touchdown run on a gadget play where an apparent end-around wideout Antoine Randall stopped and launched a 43-yard touchdown strike to fellow wide receiver Hines Ward. The Steelers overcame the Seattle Seahawks 21-10, and that game's most valuable player, well, went to Hines Ward, the very feisty, one of my favorite wide receivers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. February 5th, 2011, the legendary filmmaker Ed Sable, co-founder of NFL Films, was elected for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a contributor. Ed's NFL Films creation is an interesting story, according to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's website. Apparently in 1962, Ed created a company named Blair Productions, named after his daughter, in order to get exclusive rights to the 1962 NFL Championship game filming. Ed doubled the next closest bid of $1,500. Commissioner Pete Rozelle accepted the offer, and Blair Productions was in business rolling tape at the New York Giants versus Green Bay Packer title game. 2 years later, after experiencing success, the company was renamed NFL Films. Sable used multiple cameras to capture aspects of the game that the average television viewer did not get a chance to see, such as the sidelines. When you mix that with the legendary voice of narrator John Facenda, wow, what an experience fans could have in their living rooms. And if you're my age, mid-50ish and older, I'm sure you remember every Sunday morning you would have those NFL Films with the thundering voice of John Facenda, the drums and the music, and just got you all fired up about an hour before game times on Sunday afternoons. Boy, that was an exciting time. And now I go back and watch some of those great films by Sable. His son Steve Sable took over. Unfortunately, we lost both of those gentlemen in recent years. They're both in the Hall of Fame now. But boy, what did they did for bringing the NFL into our living rooms is just a tremendous job, and we'll always be thankful and remember the Sables, especially Ed, the elder, the father, who really got this thing rolling all the way back in 1962 by making that $3,000 investment. February 5th, 2012, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis. Well, we reflected yesterday at Super Bowl 42, where the Giants reigned on the Patriots' perfect season, while the two teams met again 4 years and a day later in Super Bowl 46. But there was a familiar vibe to the game. That feisty Giants defense again pressured Tom Brady and kept the juggernaut New England offense off kilter most of the evening. Another similarity was that Eli Manning led the G-Men on another near game-ending drive. The Washington Post reports that the Giants, who were trailing by 2 points, drove 88 yards to the winning touchdown on a 6-yard run by tailback Ahmad Bradshaw with 57 seconds left. The New York Giants once again defeated the New England Patriots in a big game, this time by the score of 21-17. Eli Manning was selected as a game's most valuable player. February 5th, 2017, NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Well, we had Super Bowl 51, and it was one of the greatest comebacks in modern football history. The Atlanta Falcons looked unstoppable as they shredded the New England Patriots for most of the beginning of the game. The halftime score was 21-3, and in the third quarter it got even worse for the Patriots as Atlanta went up 28-3 after quarterback Matt Ryan found Tevin Coleman on a 6-yard touchdown pass in the middle of the third. That was when everything changed. Just when you're sitting there watching in your living room, you're ready to turn it off, the halftime show's over, you watch most of the commercials, and it's a blowout. Atlanta is just killing them. But Patriots then reeled off 25 unanswered points in a little over a quarter to tie the game with 57 seconds left on James White's 1-yard touchdown run and a subsequent 2-point conversion to send the game into the Super Bowl's first overtime in history per ESPN.com. It took 51 games to get to an overtime game. Amazing. In the extra session, the Patriots drove 75 yards in 8 plays, and White ran in another short touchdown to lift the New England Patriots over the Atlanta Falcons 34-28. Sounds like a broken record, but the MVP was once again Tom Brady of New England. That's where he got one of his 5 Super Bowl MVPs in that game in 2017. Now, we have some great Hall of Fame birthdays. Interesting story as we get into these too, so stay tuned here. February 5th, 1915, Fairfield, Alabama, the awesome center from the Auburn University Tigers, Walter Gilbert was born. The National Football Foundation selected Walter Gilbert for entrance into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1956. Then, February 5th, 1942, Cincinnati, Ohio, we had a great birthday, a big-time player here. The Naval Academy's legendary quarterback, Roger Staubach, celebrated his day of birth. Staubach was befitting of the name Roger the Dodger, as his elusive skill set kept defenses off guard, never knowing if he would run or if he'd throw a pass. The RPO quarterback is what we call him today. The NFF states that during these 3 varsity seasons, Staubach completed 292 of 463 passing attempts for an incredible 63% completion rate. And of those 463 throws, only 19 were intercepted. In 1963, Roger was honored by receiving both the Heisman Trophy and the Maxwell Award, along with being selected as an All-American. Voters of the College Football Hall of Fame came knocking on Roger Staubach's door to induct him into their museum in 1981. And Staubach served out his 4-year commission to the Navy. At the age of 27, he joined the Dallas Cowboys as a rookie. He spent 10 seasons under center with Dallas, and per the Pro Football Hall of Fame.com, he left with an amazing 83.4 passing rating, and at the time the best mark by any NFL player in the history of the NFL. His career stats were officially at 1,685 completions, 2,958 passing attempts, which were good for 22,700 yards and 153 touchdowns. He was a 2-time Super Bowl winner and the most valuable player of Super Bowl VI. Roger Staubach, in 1985, was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Well, exactly 1 year later, February 5th, 1943, Flint, Michigan, Craig Morton, the quarterback from California, was born. In 1964, Craig was named as an All-American selection by the Football Coaches Association, Football Writers Association, Sporting News, Time Magazine, and just about everybody else here. Even though his team finished with a 7-7 record, that's just how good he played that year. He has a 500 team, and he ends up getting those great honors, those great magazines and award ceremonies. The National Football Foundation selected Craig Morton for entrance into the College Football Hall of Fame as well, a few years later in 1992. And after he left Cal, he played for 18 seasons in the NFL, playing for the Cowboys, Giants, and the Broncos. Now, it's amazing that both these quarterbacks we just mentioned, both born on February 5th, both a year apart, one Staubach born in 42, Morton in 43. They both got their rookie start with the Cowboys and actually, because Staubach was having such success, the Cowboys found that Morton was sort of expendable, and he left him and went on to the Giants and the Broncos. And amazingly enough, also, these two quarterbacks were the starting signal callers on two Super Bowl teams of Super Bowl VII. Staubach with the Cowboys and Morton with the Denver Broncos. The Cowboys end up triumphing in that game 27-10 on January 15th, 1978. For more on that game, refer back to our football history headlines January 15th or our podcast of January 15th. February 5th, 1947, Jacksonville, Florida, the top-notch wide receiver from Florida State, Ron Sellers, celebrated his arrival into this world. And according to his bio on the footballfoundation.org website, Sellers, in 3 seasons at Florida State, caught 212 passes for 3,598 yards. His career average was a national record in 1968, and it lasted for 19 seasons. Ron Sellers was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1988. And Ron, after that, spent 5 seasons in the NFL with the Patriots, Cowboys, and the Dolphins. On February 5th, 1950, Montgomery, Alabama, wide receiver Terry Beasley of Auburn was born. Beasley was on the Heisman ballot, finishing 8th after catching 55 passes for 12 touchdowns in 1971. And the man that won the award was his quarterback that threw him those passes, Patrick Sullivan. The National Football Foundation selected Terry Beasley for entrance into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1986. February 5th, 1951, in Fresno, California, we saw another great player. This one from Southern Cal's, their tight end, Charles Young, arrived in this life. Charles was a unanimous first-team All-American in 1972 and was part of the Trojans' national championship team that season for the National Football Foundation. Charles Young was inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2004, and after school, Young earned the NFL Rookie of the Year honors with the Philadelphia Eagles in 1973 and went on to play for 13 seasons total in his career with 4 different teams in the NFL. He earned All-Pro honors 4 times and won a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers in 1983. Now, is that a great day of football or what? We have some great birthdays of Hall of Famers. We have some great Super Bowls to talk about, the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. And, we get to talk about one of the most legendary coaches of all time, Vince Lombardi, and all that it took for him to leave Green Bay and head to Washington. So just amazing football. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you'll join us back here tomorrow. Also, don't forget to check out our sister podcast and sister website, Sports Jersey Dispatch. That's at jerseydispatch.com. Look for it in your favorite podcast provider, Sports Jersey Dispatch. Also, you can find out more football by reading our blog posts on our website, pigskindispatch.com. We'd love to have your feedback. You can email us at pigskindispatch@gmail.com. And also, make sure you take a look and see how you can get onto our subscriber list so you will get in your email inbox every single day the latest and greatest from Sports Jersey Dispatch, Pigskin Dispatch, and our new audio drama that we are a part of with Oz Davis and Number 80 Productions, Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Yeah, that's right. We'll get the latest and greatest in that too. So all that in our newsletter. Just sign up to get it with your email, and we'll have a great time reading about and learning about sports history and football history each and every day of the year. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great Gridiron Day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, Get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.